Hey everyone, TryMorning here, and I'm doing a video for you guys to update you on a few things. This is actually a video I've been wanting to make for quite a while now, and we're only finally getting around to it now. So, without further ado, let's jump right into things. Now, you may notice, of course, I'm wearing glasses today. I do have bad vision normally. I wear contacts most of the time. Today, I'm actually wearing my glasses because my contacts have been bothering me lately. I don't know why. It's mostly been the left eye. Yes, the left eye. It's been kind of troublesome. Whenever I put a contact in, it kind of like wants to come out right away, and my vision starts to get blurry. I don't know why that is, but it's an annoying little fact of life right now. And also, I didn't shave too much, so I hope you don't mind the gruff appearance or whatever. Please forgive me if that kind of thing bothers you. So, this kind of update video is going to be made to let you guys know about what's been going on the channel lately, why things have been delayed. I can tell you there is one kind of, I would say, decent reason as to why I had to delay something, and also I have to chalk it up mostly to summertime laziness because I don't know what the hell happened. Once you miss one video, you kind of start missing a lot. That's what I found anyway. Usually when I tend to miss a video, like if I'm uploading a video every day, it's kind of easy, but once I miss one, it's easy to miss the second one, and then by the time you miss the second one, it's very, very easy to miss the third, and then it kind of gets things rolling there, and you get a tangent of not uploading things for whatever it's been, like 2 months. We haven't really uploaded anything consistently for 2 months. There's been like a video here and there, but nothing consistent, unfortunately. That will change soon, though, because I have some things coming out really very, very shortly, if I could speak properly. Yes, it's always a challenge. But before we jump into talking about what's coming up ahead and the reasons for the delay, I actually owe people some answers for some questions they asked me, and I'm going to cover that right now. In fact, you can actually watch them ask those questions yourself right now. So please take it away.
Huh? Great! All right! Actually... Bye now.
Alright, now that question was cleverly asked by Cnouki. I really like the way you presented that, man. That is quite... It's not something I thought that people were going to do, but I have to... If I had a cap, I would tip it to you, man, because that is awesome. Good job making that. And to answer your question, well... It's a long story. A very long story indeed. Going back to when we first started this gaming channel, it was... Well, the channel I started back in like 2006 or 2007. You know, one of the first few years that YouTube came out, when I made this account anyway, and I wasn't really using it for anything at that time other than watching videos and, I guess, saving videos at the time or whatever, subscribing to channels. I first started using this channel for gaming back in, I would say around 2010 or 2009. I'm not sure which one, but I was uploading some videos then which really didn't have any commentary. Some of the things I would upload would be matches of Mario Kart. I was playing that with my friends, and then I would upload them just to laugh about later. And, you know, I didn't really do too much with the channel then. We didn't have too much subscribers. Really, the only reason I had the channel was to just show off to some of my, you know, friends that I had online that I was playing against in certain games. So it was really kind of like a private channel back then, or it wasn't really intended for a mass audience. But I first started the channel in this form, doing the Let's Play format, in early 2011. And we first started using that for uploading... Wow. Sometimes my brain doesn't work very quickly, so forgive me. It was, A Legend of Zelda. Yeah, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. That's the first thing we started doing. I was doing that with Emily as a kind of a Let's Play thing. I really don't know why I first started doing that. I think I watched some other people do Let's Plays. I'm like, that's kind of a cool idea. The first Let's Play that I saw on the internet was... It was Ramus playing Morrowind. I think I told the story before. I think I told it during the Morrowind game. Although, yeah, it was Ramus who was doing the Morrowind Let's Play that I watched in the first place. Then I started watching other people playing Morrowind, such as Variax, such as Gix. Morrowind is one of my favorite games, if I haven't mentioned that before. I know I have a few times, but in case you haven't seen me talking about that before, Morrowind is one of my favorite games of all time. And I thought it was really cool how people showed off their playthroughs of that game. At that time, I didn't really know that there were other people playing video games as, you know, these online series that they would upload and then show to people. So I think it was about a year after that, because I think Ramus's video was in 2010. And like I said, at that time, I wasn't really uploading Let's Plays. But after watching those kinds of Morrowind videos for a while, I started to realize that there was an actual thing called Let's Play that was like a thing done for multiple different games of all types of genres and publishers and, you know, all sorts of games, really. So, I don't really know where I started watching other... I don't... It's hard for me to really remember, because I never really watched any videos consistently, I would say, of any one particular person. So, I remember there's this one Wind Waker video uploaded by someone who was doing, like, it was like almost sounds like kind of like a joke thing. Like, they did these silly voices, kind of like we do now for some of the characters. Like, they did this, like, Valley Girl voice for Tetra. You know, they made Link kind of sound stupid, which I thought was... Well, actually, Link didn't talk in the game, but, you know, other characters... Like, he would do a voice for Link, I guess. Like I said, I barely remember this. This is back in 2011, maybe late 2010. So, it's going back some time now. 6 years or whatever. Maybe 7. So, I don't really remember all the details, and you'll have to forgive me. But, yeah, I was kind of inspired by other people doing it, essentially, as a way to answer your question. I saw other people doing Let's Plays, and that kind of inspired me. I also thought it'd be cool to show off Let's Plays of games that I considered doing, which weren't exactly popular. Like, one of the things I got around to doing in the first year when I started doing Let's Plays was the Let's Play of Orphan, which wasn't a really popular game by any means. There was only, at the time that I started uploading that video, I think there was only one other person who was doing a Let's Play of that game, and it's someone that I actually got to know later on, Mike Money Gamer, so shout out to him for being one of the other few people to do Orphan, at least back when I first started doing it in 2011. I think he started doing his in, like, 2009 or 2010. So he beat me by a little bit, but I think we both kind of finished up doing the game around the same time because he had issues with his recording of it. So yeah, it was kind of like a way to show off games which I thought were kind of cool, or at least noteworthy, and I didn't really see being played a lot. I started breaking it in with Twilight Princess because I thought that was kind of like an easy game to start breaking into the Let's Play scene with, so that's why I started with that. Yeah, and I started doing Orphan, and I wanted to do some other obscure games that I really wasn't... I never really got around to. As you can kind of see from my Let's Play history, it really didn't go in any consistent way whatsoever, because we started doing Legend of Zelda games, we did Orphan, then we did Resident Evil, so we weren't really focused on one game or one genre, and I was going to play Brave Fencer Musashi, which I thought was kind of a cool game that, I don't know, I guess it did relatively well, but it really didn't receive the same acclaim as other gaming series did later on. Pardon me for shifting around, just trying to get comfortable since I'm telling a long story. And around the same time we were doing Brave Fencer Musashi was kind of the same time we got into visual novels, which ties into the second part of this question here, which is how we decided to start playing visual novels. I think it was the same year, or maybe even the same month. I want to say it was around the same time we started doing Brave Fencer Musashi, which was, I think, early 2012, that we also started doing Magical Diary. Now, the reason why I started doing Magical Diary was because it kind of looked like a silly game that would be easy to play and kind of, like, make fun of. Yeah, it's kind of funny that the story of how we got into visual novels was, I thought it was kind of it was going to be like kind of a joke thing to do. We'd play this game which looked very, very silly, and we'd kind of, like, make fun of it. We'd play along and just read it. It seemed like an easy thing to do and just kind of have some fun with. It wasn't meant as, like, a serious Let's Play whatsoever, and I didn't really know if we would do, like, the whole game. In fact... We've gone around to do, like, 2 or 3 routes in the game as Let's Plays now, so I had no idea we would ever do as much as we did with Magical Diary. I really did not think it was going to be a very interesting game to do or cover, but as you can see, I was very, very wrong. I ended up enjoying the game very much so, and I found it not only amusing from kind of like, oh, like a humor perspective, I also found parts of the story very interesting and well executed. So it was definitely a surprise to me that I ended up enjoying the series as much as I did, and it was by far something that completely blindsided me that we would start doing visual novels as a consistent thing, because I did not expect that by any means going into Magical Diary. I thought we'd play Magical Diary, we would have fun with that, maybe play some of it, maybe play the whole thing if it was good, and, you know, that'd be the end of things. I didn't even really know what a visual novel was when I started playing Magical Diary and when I bought it. So that's kind of one of the silly things about how life will sometimes take you in unexpected directions without you really planning things out. You know, playing things one way and then you kind of go things another route with it. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone, but it makes sense to me anyway. And that's at least my experience with that game. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. I know I can't really give a too concrete reason why I first started doing Let's Plays, basically, I guess because I saw other people doing them, and I thought they were a cool thing to do. I guess that's the simplest way I could explain it, without getting too long-winded like I already did. So I'll leave things at that, and I hope that satisfies your curiosity about that. I guess I will continue on how I started continuing playing visual novels, because after Magical Diary, I started playing other games by Hanako Games, which was the developer of Magical Diary. I think we started with maybe Date Warp, or was it Fatal Hearts? It was one of those games. And then from there, we played a lot of Hanako games as visual novels. That was the only visual novels we were really doing in the first year or so. We were doing visual novels. Pardon me for not being able to speak right. I guess it's one of the reasons why you have to keep doing videos consistently. Otherwise, you lose your ability to speak and sound coherent. But yeah, after maybe a year or so of doing, Magical Diary, Fatal Hearts, Date Warp, what was the other one? The Royal Trap, that was another good one. Then we started doing visual novels by other developers. I think maybe one of the first ones we started breaking out to doing was the Jisei series. Then, of course, there was the infamous Fading Hearts. And after that, it kind of concluded with the apex, of course. Dandelion, Wishes is Brought to You. That was quite the series indeed. I kind of noticing there's a bit of a glare in my glasses. I hope you guys aren't too bothered by that, because there is the window right behind where I'm filming. That way I can get light in my face, but also kind of glares off the glasses. Forgive me for that, because I know that is annoying. It would annoy me anyway, and I can't help but notice it in the OBS window that I'm staring at now. I should be looking at the camera. But yeah, I think that's probably sufficient explanation. And then Danganronpa, it was something that was recommended to us by a few people over the years. Over the last 2 years or so, I would say, maybe 3. So eventually I decided to try that out, and I had heard about Danganronpa before from the infamous, what is it called? Something Awful forums? Yeah, the infamous Something Awful forums. They had done like a Danganronpa Let's Play back when it was only a Japanese game, and they translated it to English, and it became very famous. And I'd heard of the Let's Play. I never actually read the whole thing, but I did know of the overall premise of the game, which was that there's these students that would be locked up in a school and be forced to kill each other by some odd means. Other than that, I was pretty much blind on the series, so yeah. That's how we got into Danganronpa. And I think that pretty much covers pretty much every angle I can from your question there. At least I hope it does. If it doesn't, let me know, and I will expand upon it in grotesque detail, which will be more than anyone wants to know, I'm sure. So now that I answered that one, let's go to the next question. Take it away.
Hey TyrellCapers here. For those of you who do not know me, you can usually find me in Try's livestream under the same name of TyrellCapers. Sometimes I will say something, sometimes I won't, but chances are I'm there in the background anyway. So, to go ahead and continue with my question, Try. I know that you've probably played quite a bit of visual novels in your day, no? And there have been visual novels that you've really liked, and visual novels that you may have not enjoyed so much, no? So, my question for you is, what are the things that you most enjoy inside a visual novel, and what are the things that you least enjoy in a visual novel? Thank you.
Again, that is another very, very good question. A very good question indeed. Thank you for that, Tyrell. What do I most enjoy in a visual novel? That is a very, very good question, and there's a lot of different ways I could answer this. So I'm going to try to answer this as best I can quickly, and then maybe I'll give a longer answer on it. So what I most enjoy in a visual novel is a story that's done well, really. A game can be any genre, really. This doesn't really just apply to visual novels or visual novels of a certain genre like mystery or fantasy, or I don't know, whatever kind of genres there are visual novels that you played. I guess kind of like there's been drama visual novels, dating visual novels, that kind of thing. It doesn't really matter what genre it is. It's as long as the story's written well, as long as the plot has a kind of consistency to it, and as long as the game doesn't overburn you with a ton of filler, I'm probably going to enjoy it. Really, the most important thing overall is just that the story's done well. Even if the story's done well and there is filler, I can probably enjoy the game nonetheless because there have been visual novels I've played, and I guess some people would probably argue with me on some of them, especially one or two recent games I've played, which I feel had a lot of filler elements to it, but I still enjoyed nonetheless. I don't want to mention them by name because I don't want to start an argument, so I'm just going to leave the names out. But yeah, essentially, if you have a well-written story, if it's interesting, and just an intriguing premise is enough to have a good visual novel, at least in my opinion. And if it's executed well, if the plot doesn't meander too much, if it stays to the point, unlike my answers in these questions, then I think you're going to have a good visual novel, and I'm probably going to enjoy it. So, probably easy enough to answer. Conversely, what I least enjoy in a visual novel is something that has very little plots, if the story isn't interesting in any way whatsoever, if the story just meanders and meanders and meanders, kind of like the way I sometimes answer these questions, and it really doesn't get to the point of what it's trying to say, or if it doesn't even have anything to say in the end anyway, I'm probably not going to enjoy it very much. It's hard for me to answer these without giving some examples, so I'll pick one that I think people can almost universally agree to, or at least universally on my channel as my audience. Dandelion Wishes Brought to You was a game which it may have had very interesting characters from a dating perspective, like, oh, I could get with the bad boy, even though I think this is very cliche and silly and I don't enjoy it very much whatsoever. Yeah, there's the bad boy, there's, the nice guy, there's the shy guy, the blah, 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 the different kind of character archetypes which are overused in these types of things, in my opinion. Aside from that, the game spent way, way too much time with you just doing needless stuff, grinding for stats, which it didn't need to be in the game whatsoever. Pretty much the entire game was a stat grind with you doing things repetitively, which didn't add anything to the story, which was the same dialogue reused multiple times. Oh, I went to the movie theater. I saw a movie. The movie was like this. I enjoyed it, or I didn't enjoy it. It was always the same dialogue, no matter how many times you had to do that activity, which you would have to do multiple times to get the required stats to get the proper ending for your proper character, to make sure you didn't get the bad ending, and it was just way too repetitive. There's way too much filler. It was just completely unenjoyable to me. So, that kind of thing I didn't enjoy. Another game like, Fading Hearts. It was something that really didn't have much of a point to it. Eventually, if you play the game enough, and if you get the proper ending, you kind of do understand a little bit more about that game and what's going on. And some things are explained out, but by the time you get to that, at least for me, I was wondering, why do I even care at this point that this certain character is the reincarnation of this other character who wasn't even in the story at all, who had no relevancy for this plot. It was just kind of this exercise in futility because they made this elaborate backstory, which essentially I don't know why you would care about because it wasn't in the game. And yes, your character is related to this whole backstory, but it really isn't related to anything that's going on in the game itself. If they wanted to set the game in these, ancient times or this magical fantasy world, they could have just done that and made a game out of that instead. But instead, they had this weird backstory that you would read in the animes and in the manga of the game, and you would get from that, and eventually you would have some understanding of these ancient characters, these magical ancient characters, and their whole backstory and how they tie into your characters. But there really wasn't too much of a tie-in other than the fact that they were tied in just for the sake of having them tied in. It didn't really have any relevancy on the plot or what your character was doing overall in the game. So, pretty much, I appreciate any game that respects my time. If the story just wastes my time with needless things, I'm not going to enjoy it. And there's probably a whole bunch of more detail I can go on with that. But again, hopefully that's a satisfactory answer for you. If not, let me know and I'll try to go on in even more detail. Maybe I'll make a full dedicated video for this topic, because it is an interesting topic to me as well. What makes a visual novel good? What makes it bad? What makes it enjoyable? And what makes it loathsome? I could go on about that all day. I could make an hour video of that alone. And already we spent probably 10 minutes talking about that. So I'm going to cut things off there for that for now. And hope that's good enough for most of you. But yeah, if you do want to hear more about any of those topics I brought up, let me know and I can make a full video. I'm going to try to make videos like this more often where I discuss topics, and if it's focused on one certain point, I could go on it in a lot more depth. So that's one good thing. This is kind of more like a, spray and pray. We're going to hit a bunch of different topics and try to go on. And yeah, that's actually the end of the questions too, thankfully. That way we don't have to babble on for much longer. Okay, it's finally good to have those questions done and finally answered. I do apologize for the extraordinary length it's taken for you to get those responses, but I hope they were to your liking in the end. And actually, if you want, feel free to ask me any questions you want in the future about any number of topics, and I will answer as many as you want to make up for it for the extraordinary amount of time you had to wait to receive that response. What happened? I actually went up to complete a few tasks, and my mic has to be adjusted, it looks like, from where it was before. So let's get back to it. What was the next thing we had to talk about? Well, there's, of course, a loud car driving by, which maybe will be edited out so you'll never know and you'll think I'm crazy. So yes, the topics I wanted to talk about in this video, which I conveniently wrote down, so I'd be able to answer them quite easy. So one of the first things I wanted to talk about was, what's up? What happened? What was the cause of the delay, or what was the initial cause, I should say? And that goes back to the Persona 5 Let's Play I was doing. Yes. So as you guys may have known, Atlus had certain restrictions on their Let's Play policy and their streaming policy for Persona 5. Now, pretty much in the beginning, it was you could play the game up to a certain point. I think it was maybe sometime in July of the game itself. And later on, that got changed to sometime in November of the game time. So you could play as much of the game as long as you didn't go past that certain date. So I assumed, obviously, reading that policy and understanding it, that we would be good. We wouldn't have to worry about any kinds of hardship from Atlus or kind of strikes from YouTube or that kind of thing. Interestingly enough, back in mid-June, I learned that wasn't quite the case. For whatever reason, one of the videos I did at Persona 5 ended up getting a copyright strike on it, a manual strike from Atlus. Yes, very, very interesting, considering, according to their own policy, you would be good until a certain date, which I hadn't passed. And also, the fact that there's a ton of other people doing Let's Plays of the game that didn't really have any hardship with it, it seemed. Or at least from a first glance. Now, I actually did some research, and I found that there were a few people that did encounter some trouble with their Persona 5 Let's Plays. Most of these were smaller channels, and I noticed that one guy had his whole channel shut down because he had so many videos that were striked against. Luckily for me, it was only one video, so it really didn't hurt the channel too much. It didn't shut it down in any way. It didn't place restrictions on uploading or that kind of thing. So at no point were we really threatened with being shut down, which is a good thing. But I did notice that there was one other channel that it's a bit of a notorious channel on YouTube. You probably have heard of it before, or you may have heard it before. If you haven't, it's not really a big deal. But a Let's Player by the name of Darkside Phil had, I think, 2 of his videos stricken for copyright claims by Atlus. Now, I was kind of paying some attention to what he was doing because I thought it was an interesting parallel. And I found that he had submitted some claims to Atlus, and he was getting them cleared up. So I kind of did the same thing, and eventually mine got cleared up as well. So it wasn't really much of an issue, except for the fact that it seemed to have happened in the first place, which didn't really have much of an explanation at all. I never really got an explanation as to why the videos got stricken down by Atlus. For all I know, maybe it was a mistake. Maybe they had hired someone new who was going around striking videos without really knowing the policy. Either way, at this point in time, there's no strike on the channel. That all got cleared up back in early July. Or about mid-July, I think. Because we first got in the strike in mid-June. Maybe it was, say, around June 20th. Maybe shortly before that. And I think it got cleared up maybe July. I think probably by the 7th, really. So kind of early July got cleared up. Now, the only thing was that caused me to stop playing the game for quite a while. And as a result of not playing the game for probably about 2 or 3 weeks, I kind of fell into the habit of not uploading videos. And like I mentioned kind of early in the beginning of this, it's a bad habit, a very, very bad habit. If you are a content creator, you want to make videos consistently. Because what I found is once you miss one video, it's easy to miss a second one, and then it becomes practically like nothing to miss a third. For some reason, when you're in the middle of uploading videos every day, it becomes kind of a habit. And it's kind of like a psychological thing where you just know to do it. You know, oh, I'm going to allocate this hour to make a video, this hour to, you know, edit the video, and then write up all the details for the description, do the thumbnail, do that stuff. Once you stop doing that for a day, 2 days, 3 days, for some reason, it just feels like a monumental task to make another video and do the editing and that kind of thing. So if you are ever in the position where you're editing videos or making videos for YouTube or whatever, my advice to you is just keep doing it no matter what. Make sure you do one every day. Otherwise, it becomes easy to justify in your mind, well, I didn't upload a video yesterday. Why should I bother uploading one today? I can miss another day. Or by that, you know, train of thinking, it becomes, well, I haven't uploaded a video for the past week, so if I miss one today, it's not really a big deal because, you know, it's not like people are expecting it at this point. And it becomes a terrible mindset to get into. Really just focus every day, try to make something. That's my hypocritical piece of advice because obviously I haven't been following it this last month and a half or 2 months or whatever. So, yeah, that's what I have to say. I am going to try to get back into the habits of doing something and uploading something at least once a day. Hopefully I can stick to it. But obviously I don't want to make too many broad claims without having actually put up first. So I won't speak too much to that fact, but other than the fact that I'll hopefully try to do that. I feel like the lighting has changed because it's getting later in the day. So hopefully the video still looks good. Let me just check that real quick. I will say now though, that I am going to try at least to make sure I upload a video every day. And I'm also going to see about streaming again and trying to do it at least once a week, maybe 2 if I can find the time to squeeze it in. And overall, I just want to say that I'm sorry for missing so many days of uploads and not really providing a lot of content to you during the summer. Hopefully you guys have had other things to do, but I do apologize I haven't been providing as much entertainment as I could have during this time. So I do hope that you will forgive me and look forward to future uploads coming very, very soon. And I should talk a little bit about what they're going to be in the near future. Obviously, we need to finish Soul Set. That is very, very, very close to being finished. We're like so close to finishing that. I think we only need a few more parts, maybe like even an hour or so of the game itself, and we're pretty much done with it. After that, we're going to start doing Ultra Despair Girls. Now, Ultra Despair Girls, I'm not sure how much we're going to do of that because shortly after we start doing Ultra Despair Girls, it's already like mid-August. In 1 month, we're going to have Danganronpa V3, and I'm much more interested in playing that than Ultra Despair Girls. I know Ultra Despair Girls probably has an interesting story and some additional backstory that would answer some questions about the characters we've seen in Danganronpa 1 and 2. But for whatever reason, I don't know, it seems kind of like superfluous information to me, and I probably shouldn't judge it without having played it, but I am much more interested in seeing what happens in Danganronpa V3, because that's like the next stage of the game series and whatever happens, and I think for all I know, from what I've heard, it's supposed to be kind of a new launching point for the story. Like, we're gonna have all new characters, a whole new school, I think, maybe, and I guess new motivations and maybe new backstory. I don't really know too much about it, and I like not knowing too much about it because that means I'll be surprised when I actually play it. So yeah, we'll try to play some Ultra Despair Girls, but I'm not sure if I'll play the whole thing before we start V3. Now, and this is very important when I bang the mic. You know that I'm going to feel passionate about whatever I'm saying next. V3, there's a, as you can tell from my facial expression, there's kind of a catch. And it's a very unfortunate catch because, obviously, like you guys, probably most of you guys anyway, we're very much looking forward to Danganronpa V3. And it's been something I've been looking forward to all, pretty much all year up to this point, since we finished Danganronpa 2. From what I'm hearing about Danganronpa V3, you're only going to be able to do a Let's Play of it as long as you upload nothing past the first chapter of the game. From what I'm to understand anyway, at this point in time, there's a streaming and uploading restriction on the game. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, isn't it? So, we can play the game, we can upload the game, but it'll only be until the first chapter of the game. And yeah, usually in the case of Danganronpa games, it seems to be 1/6 of the game about. Because most games have 6 chapters, and obviously they'll just be scratching the surface of V3. So it is unfortunate. I am going to stick to the plan, though, of playing the game and uploading as much as I can do, whenever I can, as soon as I can. Of course, the only catch will be, it's not up to me, it's up to Spike Chunsoft, how much of the game we can do. Obviously, for now, it'll be Chapter 1. And I have no idea if that restriction will change in the future. If it does change in the future to being like, okay, now you can upload until Chapter 2, like maybe they do that in December. They'll say, all right, now you can upload this much. Maybe then there'll be a change in policy. I don't really know. There's all speculation on my part. So really, the story with Danganronpa V3, without bemoaning it too much, we can only do a certain amount unless Spike Chunsoft changes their mind in the future. So for what it's worth, what I'm going to do is I'll upload everything for the first part, the first chapter of the game. I'm going to continue playing and recording the game, but not uploading it. And if there's any change in the future, I guess I can upload that material. If not, it'll just have to stay shelved on my hard drive until such a time comes. So yeah, that's the unfortunate update about Danganronpa V3. Obviously, it's coming out soon. Everyone can play it and enjoy it, but unfortunately for me, I can't upload everything that you guys might want to see of that game. And that's just the reality of the condition right now. I will try to play the game as fast as possible, so if you guys want to discuss the game kind of in like Discord or whatever, and just, I could probably do a video where I give my opinions of the game. I guess I could do that without showing any footage. I could kind of do like a Danganronpa V3 discussion video. After I'm all done, I can discuss the plot, I can talk about my opinions on things. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't do the game itself if it's past the first chapter. So that's what it is, and unfortunately, there's nothing else to really do about it. There's nothing else I can do. So I guess, if nothing else, after we play a certain amount of V3, we can always go back to playing Ultra Despair Girls if we don't finish it all in time. So that's something to look forward to, I guess. Even though that's probably not what most people want. But yeah, my hands are tied, so to speak. And beyond those obvious games, I don't really have too many other concrete plans on games to play. There's obviously always getting back to England Exchange, which was a game I was streaming a little bit. And I actually got a full copy of the game, so I'm intending to stream more of that at some point. That'll probably be something I do on the side, here and there, to kind of fill out streams in between when I have actual stuff to do. So it's not really like a main game series, it's more of like a fun thing to do on the side. It's not like a long, dedicated project like, say, Soulset was, or say, Danganronpa obviously is, because it's such a story-narrated game, a story-oriented game with all this narration and all that stuff. England Exchange is like kind of like a little side thing, which would be nice to do on the side. And I can say side a few more times if you guys want, since obviously I'm overusing that word. And let me see, I wrote down another, oh yeah, there was that game, Remember, which was kind of interesting, and we never got to finish. I think we played like half of the game, and eventually, probably after we played Soulset, because I think Soulset's the thing I want to prioritize. We could try to fit a stream of that in, or maybe I'll just play that as a video recording, just a video we play offline and then upload to get that game finally squared away and finished. Because it's kind of an interesting premise. I was looking forward to seeing what the ending to that was going to be. The last thing I had written down on here, on my little paper of things to talk about, was The Witch's House. The Witch's House is another RPG Maker game that people voted on, and I said I would try to stream at some point. So yeah, that's another thing I'll try to fit in, probably before August is up, or maybe in early September. I don't know, it depends on how things go in the near future. So it's all very much up in the air until I can work out my schedule a little bit better. And that almost wraps up the video. I guess the last few things I wanted to talk about was, if you do have a suggestion on games to play, feel free to recommend it. It'll be taken into consideration. In addition, if you support us on Patreon, you can obviously vote on games to play. Now that we're finally coming back into the swing of things, there will be more votes very, very soon. In fact, I guess I can mention it here, since I really didn't do too much for Patreon on last month, since I was largely absent last month. Pretty much, if you support us in any amounts or form, what I'm going to say from this point on is, in order to kind of like make that time up to you, if you want to recommend a game, or I should not even say recommend a game, if you want to just say a game, I'll probably do a stream of it just to kind of square things away, because usually what people do is they get the option to vote on a game, and I figure to make things up, let's step things up a notch. If you donated or pledged any amount to the channel, what you can do is just PM me, or you can even do it as a comment on this video if you want, if you have the same kind of screen name and I can recognize you. Tell me what game you'd like to see and I'll do a stream of it. We'll play it for about 2 or 3 hours and see what kind of fun we have with it. It's actually a shorter game, which is only like 5 hours long. I'll try to finish the whole thing, actually. Although it may become 2 streams at that point if it's too long. But yeah, as a way of making up to you guys, since I really didn't get to do too much overall in the last month of July, it was kind of a downer. Yeah, that's an activity I'm going to bring out for kind of like a one-time only thing, unless this kind of thing happens again, in which case maybe I'll do it a second time. But yeah, pretty much anyone, $1 and up, just let me know what game you want to see me play, and I'll play it. It could even be something I would not play at all. So yeah, that's a lot of power you guys have right now. I think that's it. That's all I have to really talk about. The last thing I have to do is the special thanks for the people that support us in the months of, at this point, June and July, and I guess I could do August too, because I think it was pretty much all the same people that pledged during those months. So if you donated, what was it? Was it $10 or more? I believe it's a $10 or more amount, because that's what I'd written down here. You are owed a special shout out thank you. And these people are people who are well known to my channel at this point. I think if you are in the comments or if you are in Discord, you probably have seen them probably on a few occasions. And these people would be the awesome TeaMasterSen, who is responsible for sending me the Tales of Eternia game and giving me that game to play, which I have to actually upload more of. Actually, if that's the game you want to see more of, let me know, because I could definitely play more of that game in the near future to make up for past events. There's also the totally awesome Nayru, the developer behind Soulset, who comes to my streams very often and participates on Discord. Thank you for your support on our channel. I do appreciate that. And I'm definitely appreciative of the awesome game you made, because it is a ton of fun. And I'm not just saying that because she supports me on Patreon. It actually is a really awesome game. You can watch the Let's Play for yourself and be able to tell on your own just how awesome it is as I bang the mic. Like I said, as soon as I get passionate about something, I have to bump into the microphone. I need to come up with a better setup here, because right now the mic is kind of jutting across the screen. Well, not the screen, my desk. I don't know why I said screen. Well, that's a nice little interruption for the thank you segment. Anyway, this is kind of too high now. Let's lower that a little bit. Adjust this. Third is the awesome... I'm actually trying to think of what to call her at this point, because I know she goes by different names. At this point, she is known as the Faceless Mermaid, I believe. But it's a new screen name. You may also know her as Wiki Master Steph. I'm not sure which name you want to be referred to on this. I think you may have told me, but it's been so long now I almost forgotten. But I'll give you a thank you either way to the awesome Steph. I will just say that. Thank you for your support. She's the one that is doing the cat lady with me. I think I uploaded one of those parts, but I have a second one I have to upload too. And yeah, that's a lot of fun. We have to actually play more of that pretty soon, so yeah, I'll probably be messaging you in the near future to let you know when we can play more of that game. And finally, last but not least, the totally awesome, the great supporter, the moderator on my channel who helped me avoid many a Danganronpa 2 spoilers, the awesome Cnouki. And I believe I'm saying his name right at this point in time, because for the longest time I did not know how to pronounce it. Cnouki is a longtime supporter of this channel. He actually was supporting us back when YouTube was on the fan funding model? I forget what they called it, but yeah. They had some other thing before they had Super Chat, which they used to allow viewers to support their favorite channels. And he did that numerous times, so thank you very much, Cnouki, for your longtime support on the channel, and also for recommending the game Akiba's Trip, which is cleverly titled, if you ever see the game itself, to kind of clue you in on what the game's about. He recommended that game to me, and he also pledged a certain amount on Patreon to play that game with me, and it's actually been a ton of fun. Like I said, if you want to play more of that game in the future, you can definitely do that, because he's been pledged for like 2 or 3 months straight now, so you're definitely owed that if you want to play more of that in the future with me. I'm keeping my schedule open for you, so if you want to let me know when's a good time, message me on Discord or whatever. And I believe that's it. There are other people who supported us on Patreon And I would like to thank you for all of your support. Anyone who supports us in any amount, that goes a long way. Definitely these days on YouTube, with the whole platform being very... wow. I mean, today is August 12th. There's things that are going on YouTube all the time. Basically, like every week there's something new with YouTube, which kind of puts its status into question as to how long the platform will be viable for creators of certain material or whatever. I'm actually going to cut myself off right now on that, because there's actually a huge and long debate, and probably a little bit of a controversial one we could have on that, and that's way beyond the scope of this video anyway, and probably not something I want to talk about overall. But I will say, yeah, obviously things are a bit tenuous with YouTube in regards to certain things, and obviously, I do appreciate any support people give me through other platforms and means, so thank you. Hopefully I could do more in the future to make it up to you and give you good rewards. There are things that are going to be sent out very soon. I have recently finished, or I should say, I recently received the finished artwork from Joseph for the month of July, which is obviously a month late now, and I'll be sending that out soon. Also, I'm intending to have something done for Ultra Despair Girls, but I wanted to wait until I had the playthrough started before I sent that out, so hopefully that'll be started very soon as well, and we can get that out for you guys, hopefully before the end of August. So yes, look forward to that. Other than that, I think that is finally it. So without further ado, I will let the credits roll, or actually I could probably just put them up on screen, because I think there was maybe 8 people who supported us on Patreon, I think, so I could probably fit them all in right around here. Yes, the people to thank for supporting the channel and pledging to us on Patreon. So thank you very much for your support once again. And for the rest of you, thank you for your viewership. It is very much appreciated. Anyone that watches the videos or comments on the videos, or, you know, just likes the videos or shares them on Twitter, that goes a long way to helping out the channel, because obviously the most important thing for a channel, its lifeblood, is its viewer base. You know, without that, it would be absolutely nothing. So you guys are the ones that make this channel what it is every day. You know, anyone that watches the video and does the stuff I said above, you are what makes us us, because without that, we would just be shouting out into the void. To steal a line from something else, which I don't even know what that's from, but I've heard that used before in many a thing, so I'm stealing it from whoever first used that. And yeah, that'll do. So until then, guys, until next time, whenever we do whatever, I think the next thing that'll probably be uploaded is more Ebe, but until the next thing we record, because we haven't recorded anything in a long time, I will say farewell to you, because the try you hear in the next video uploaded will be the try of the past. Although it'd probably look more dramatic if I did to the right. For me, it's kind of like the opposite. The try of the past. The past. Keep it on screen. Until the next time you hear from the try of the future, which will be hopefully for the finale, or some of the finale episodes of Soulset, take care. And go in peace. And stay cool. And all that stuff. Until then, farewell. We will see you then. I'm gonna go eat now. Take care.